Going on? We are back for another one. Terrence Crawford versus Kell Brooks tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. Both guys weighed in. They both look good. And I guess we'll see what happens tomorrow between the two of them. But what I want to talk about right now is, as far as Terrence Crawford is concerned, it's about all the information that's been put out there in the last couple of days. And it started kind of in the last couple of weeks. I remember a couple of weeks ago, Bob Arum was talking about how, hey, you know, Terrence Crawford could stay here, but maybe it'd be good for him to go to the PBC, because that's where all the fights are. So maybe he should go over there and he can get all these particular fights that he wants if he was with the PBC. Now and then, in the last I guess it's a day or two, his lawyer, I guess or whatever, supposedly put out an article and I'm talking about how Terrence Crawford was disgruntled and he's upset about his situation and him not quote getting these particular fights that he wants, and that if it was necessary he would have to leave Top Rank and go ahead I guess to PBC if that's what was necessary to get him the fights that he's requesting. Um, he's also when he was speaking with Brian Cussard. Brian Cussard was asking him a couple of different questions. Um, I don't know. People kept saying that in the conversation. He basically was saying that he was unhappy and he was willing to go to PBC. That's not necessarily what I got from the conversation. Brian Cussard asked him about him getting his fights. He's like, no, I always ask for those fights. He's like, are you putting your foot down, saying that you want these particular fights? He said, no, I always ask for those particular fights. And he's still actually on Top Rank for another year. This whole he's about to leave Top Rank and this and that. He's in Top Rank for another 4 year. So that's kind of BS. It's kind of this narrative that's being pushed that, he's unhappy where he is, and he's looking for a way to get out of there and go to PBC. Which, no disrespect, but it's all BS. Like Bob Arum has a saying, fans are like rocks. You can throw them in any direction. So you got to understand that. Understand the BS that Top Rank does. It's hard to say, oh, I want to fight this guy and I want to fight that guy. These are the guys I want to fight, because people don't believe that anymore. He said on multiple occasions, even still saying it now, that hey, I want to fight Earl. If I fight Earl Spence, probably next year. If I don't fight Earl Spence next year, then it's probably not going to happen. And I'm content with that, and I'm happy with that. I'm fine with that. It doesn't bother me. He said this. He said, oh, when it came to Keith Thurman, where was Keith Thurman a year ago? Where was Keith Thurman, when he was a champion and he had his belt? So why should I fight him now? What does Sean Porter bring to the table? Sean Porter doesn't bring anything to the table. I'm just fighting Earl Spence's leftovers, even though he's fighting Kell Brooks right now. Someone that Earl Spence knocked out. But, he's made different reasons of why, Ugas was never given any kind of offer at all. So, he's pretty much either made excuses for not fighting, certain guys, or just not set them up at all. So you can't then turn around and say, hey, I want these guys. People kind of just not falling for it anymore. So I think it's just a situation where they need something new, they need something fresh to bring attention to his fights, especially since they're not doing any kind of promotion for it whatsoever anyway. But I think that's kind of more what it is. I don't think he's leaving Top Rank. Don't see him moving on at all. Usually when people are signed to Top Rank, they don't even talk bad about Top Rank like that, just due to the fact that they make you sign contracts in your contract saying that you can't speak bad about the company like that. That's why when you see people like Jesse Vargas, he was pretty quiet about his situation until he got out of it. If you look at somebody like even at Andy Ruiz, you didn't hear too much about being disgruntled until he left. You know, every once in a while, the bigger fighters might hear a little thing here or there, then it kind of just, everything kind of gets shut down. Shakur Stevenson was speaking his mind for a little bit, then that just kind of went away. So do I believe it? Absolutely not. I think Terrence Crawford is somebody that's content in the place that he's in. He's okay making his $3 million facing the level of opposition that he's facing, getting his wins, twice, maybe 3 times a year. He's good with that. Like, he's 100% fine with that. You know, the amount of money, even though he can make a substantial more money, fighting these other guys, he's okay with not getting that. He's okay with not necessarily being a superstar or having all this fame that he could have. He's okay with all that. As long as he got the little bread that he's making, he's good. He's gonna make it for a couple of more fights, and then he's gonna retire, and that's gonna be it. Unfortunately, I don't see him living Top Rank at all whatsoever, and I don't see him fighting any meaningful fight probably for the rest of his career. I wouldn't be shocked if that was the case. If he just faced this level of competition for the rest of his career, I wouldn't be shocked at all. So don't be a rock. Don't be that rock that Bob Arum likes to call people and get thrown in any direction. Because that if he really was quote discarded and everything like that, there would be no attorneys speaking out and doing all that other stuff at all. you know, None of that would be happening whatsoever. Um, but it is what it is. People are going to believe whatever they're going to believe. But this is my stance when it comes to that particular situation. It would be a great thing if he did leave, if he was able to go to PBC, just due to the level of competition he'd have to face. And we could see really where he stands, whether him facing a Sean Porter or Keith Thurman or Ugas, him being, a Earl Spence. Because I think it'd be one of those situations where they might have him fight one guy, then after that, boom, go right in, go fight Earl Spence next. Or they might just have him fight Earl Spence right away in unification. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if he wins or he loses, he can just move on, to fighting other guys in there and still stay right there. Because in a place like PBC, it doesn't really matter if you lose. Even if you lose, it doesn't matter. They're still going to push you. They're still going to give you opportunities. They don't just put you in a corner somewhere where you can't, do anything anymore. Your money doesn't drop all the way to the damn floor. You know how many multi-million-dollar paydays Robert Guerrero got after he lost versus Floyd? You're still going to get those $1 million paydays. You know how many $1 million paydays are on the table right now for Maidana if he decides to come back right now? All the millions Adrian Broner has made, regardless of how many losses that he's had, hasn't mattered. Has not mattered. You're still going to get those opportunities, to progress yourself back to where you were at. And even while you're climbing up, you're still going to get paid well. Look how Ugas is living. And he took an L. And man, he's living right, So we'll see what the future holds. But unfortunately, to me, him being away from Top Rank and going to PBC ain't happening. But for now, like, subscribe, share. I'm out.